Hi, everyone. This is the Heroes Podcast, and I have someone special for you today. Welcome on the show, Royce Briales. How are you?
I'm doing well, Andre. How about you?
Well, I'm so happy to have you here. We just had a chat. I'm all in, all ears to hear your stories. But before we go into that, I really want to intro you a bit for everyone who's on the show. So, Sir Royce, whose efforts rest on one single foundation, his passion for helping dads across the globe become the best version of themselves that they can be. Oh, this is so good. As a single father of three children, Sir Royce is fully aware of how just challenging and obstacle driven parenting is. Because of this, Sir Royce chose to co found Welcome to the Fatherhood with his childhood friend, Raheem Young, amazing person, I met him, to give fathers a cornerstone resource that they can be monumentally supported, learn parenting tips and tricks, and cope with prevalent fatherhood stresses, which allows them to showcase their superpowers to the world. With that being said, you're ready to take your fatherhood journey to a new, much more enjoyable level, then don't hesitate to reach out to Sir Royce today. We will share his details later on because they have these bi-weekly support symposiums and a whole curriculum and master classes to support you. So, Sir Royce, tell me, what is the background? Like, probably you didn't have this ready, right? You have some challenges when you were younger. Tell me, what was you 20, 30 years ago, maybe 40?
Yeah. So to give you a little bit more background about myself, I grew up in a two-parent household until I was about 12. That's when my mom and my dad they both separated. Um, so I was living with my mother basically from 12 years old until I grew up. And my dad was in and out. He was in and out of our lives. He actually struggled with drug addiction. He was in rehab, and up until the point when he died, like he still was struggling with addiction. So I had that in my life growing up. But my dad was a great guy, like in regards to like being there, being present. When he was there, he was there. But he had his troubles, he had his things that he had to deal with. But my mom was really instrumental in my life in regards to, developing me and actually showing me, different outlets and different things I can do as far as like sports. Um, I was in different like, clubs in high school, so I stayed busy. But I would say even staying busy is still was hard to fill that void that my dad left when he actually left. So it's something that I had to process, growing up, even until now, until today. It was a struggle, if you will.
So, how did you cope? And the story that you're sharing is like I wished for my clients to, for my parents to split up. They didn't. So life was worse. But how did you cope with dad in and out? How did that affect you?
Yeah, it was hard. It was difficult. Growing up with him not being like when I was basically going through high school, he wasn't around. So that's normally the time when you ask your dad for advice about certain things in regards to dating, seeing because you're becoming a man. Like you're going from a boy to a man. So during that time, you got the puberty is happening, you're transitioning, and it was really hard to not have him around like during that transition.
And what happened after? Uh, how did you experience feeling lack of self-worth, lack of confidence in in those years? Would you want to give us an example and maybe how you have been able to overcome it?
Yeah, definitely a lack of self worth because you see yourself in your father in a way. So when my dad was struggling, with his addiction and going through rehab and everything, um, I didn't really have a lot of male role models. Like I had my grandfather, I had my uncle, but they were, you know, they weren't my dad. So it's you know, it's levels to it. So I didn't have any, I didn't go through any therapy during that time. Like I just was just, I was just me basically going through the experience of not having my dad around. So when I was a kid, I had my friends. You know, yeah, I had my outlets. I had sports. I had different things. But I would say how I overcame it was um, by connecting with like-minded people. Um, you know, reaching out to people that went through similar situations as I did. And even in creating Welcome to Fatherhood, like I'm able to talk to dads that had similar experiences to what I went through as well. So um, I think that's how I overcame it is by uh, looking outside of myself and looking at the bigger picture and looking at how I can create a better world for myself, not just for myself, but for my kids as well.
Powerful. So you found support groups around that you could call upon for sharing your challenge. And did you get help, or there was someone to really give something at that point?
Yeah, I think yeah, over time, yeah, I was able to get help and also get insights into what it took to really be a dad, to be really there, be present for your kids. Even with the podcast that I created, which actually you just were a part of, like just a few minutes ago. One of the biggest things that we uh, gathered from dads, one of the biggest pieces of advice is how to be present, like how to really be there in the moment. So I've been really into meditation. So I've been actually doing meditation sessions with my children, with my sons and my daughter, um, to really show them also the blueprint and how to be present. Because we're only here for a certain amount of time. So why not take advantage of it? Why not be here in the moment? Because that's all we have is right here, right now.
Very powerful. Very powerful. And how why do people come to you? So now you have a big audience now, or has this just taken on small scale and it grown? Take us through the journey.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we've been growing. Yeah, it's been actually exponential growth since we started. So we started back in 2016. Actually, I was about to have my son. My wife at the time, she was pregnant with my son. We were having discussions about different ideas to start a business. And me and my childhood friend, we used to meet at like a burger restaurant or like a bar and just talk about different ideas. And the conversations would start with business, like, okay, here's a business idea, but then it would gear towards fatherhood. Like what to expect. Like, did you wake up in the middle of the night? Like we started talking about different fatherhood related issues. And we kind of started thinking like, man, why can't we start something for fathers, for fatherhood? And one of the nights we met up, and I went home that night, and I Googled like fatherhood organizations in Chicago, and it was probably like 1 or 2 pages on Google. It wasn't a lot, but you Google motherhood organizations in Chicago, and it's man 10 to 15 pages. It's a lot more. So at that point, I realized like there was a need to get support for dads because as much as moms need support, dads need support too. As much, uh, or as equal as amount of support. So we, I came up with the name like that night. The name hit me like a ton of bricks, like the Welcome to Fatherhood name, and I was thinking like a way to make fatherhood like way to engage people with the name. So WTF, like when you think about parenthood, like a lot of times you think about WTF, like like what am I getting myself into? So I thought about Welcome to Fatherhood that night, and we came up with it, and we've been doing it ever since 2016.
Very powerful. And how do you help, Royce? What happens when someone reaches out to you?
Yeah, so we have plenty of programs where we help. We have a parenting symposium that we do twice a month. We come up with a topic, and then we come up with questions, and we pretty much get dads to jump on the call via Zoom. It actually was via in person at first. We were meeting in person, like around. We were probably getting about 10 to 12 dads to come in person. But then the pandemic started, and then we had to switch to Zoom, 100% online. Which Andre was actually a blessing in disguise because we were able to reach out to connect with more people, more dads, like yourself, all the way in Australia. So we've interviewed dads from like Australia, like I said, like Africa, Europe, all across the United States. So we've been able to reach a lot more people due to the pandemic, due to us having to, switch to online. So that's one way. The symposiums that we do. We also have a podcast, Welcome to Fatherhood Interviews. We have a on the first and actually every other Saturday. Actually, we do a Father's Feed program in Chicago, where we pass out bag lunches to the underserved in Chicago. And also we have a master class. Well, we don't call it a master class anymore. We call it a stairway series, where we get a subject matter expert to teach on a certain subject to our community. So we've been growing ever since. And we also have we're coming, like I told you before, we're coming out with our 8-week sessions, our curriculum as well. So we'll be able to support dads that way as well.
And do you keep running these 8-week sessions so there's more and more people coming on?
Yeah, so we'll be running 4 8-week sessions per year. So it'll be basically every quarter. So one 8-week session per quarter. The first one that we'll do will be on February 23rd, I believe. That'll go until March or April. So we plan on doing one every quarter to help support dads in not just in Chicago, but really, worldwide.
So what happened? Because you mentioned pandemic, and obviously it may have increased your reach. Kind of lucky. What have you seen? Was there an exponential growth in the reach outs and the numbers now, like when this has happened?
Yeah. So during the pandemic, we like on the calls when we first started doing the symposiums, we were having maybe 4 to 5 to maybe 7 or 8 people come to the in-person meetings. But when we had to switch to 100% Zoom, we were getting probably 20 to 25 people per call. On one of the stairway series, we had over 100 people jump on one of the stairway series. So that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. So I think the pandemic was really a blessing for us to be able to reach a bigger audience, and we've been increasing our reach ever since.
So what would you be celebrating in 3 to 5 years if things are going well for you?
Man, that's a good question. So I would say we'll have our own location. So we'll have our own like brick and mortar place where dads can come to get support, to get education, for us to run our symposiums. Also for us to reach a more global audience via our podcast, and also have services in place, and also licensed therapists in place for us to support dads who need help with their mental health. Because a lot of what we do is based around mental health. So that's something that's not really talked about in the mainstream media or across the nation in the U.S. not sure how it is in Australia, but mental health is really as important as physical health, is going to the gym. So we want to have a place or a hub, if you will, for dads to come to get support. Uh, not just on a surface level, but more on a deeper level. Because dads don't really have a place to go in most cases. We have a tendency, a natural tendency of pushing things down and holding on to things, and that's not healthy. So that's why if you think about it, that's why I would think men have a shorter lifespan than women, because we hold on to so much. We have so much of a burden on us when we're going through life. So my big goal for Welcome to Fatherhood is for us to have a central location, for us to um, reach a bigger audience, and also to have a staff on hand to actually support and help dads as they go through their journey.
Well, you're so lucky because these days you could even support them remotely. Uh,
Yeah.
this is what I see happening as well with talking to you now. And for some therapists and for some mental health practitioners, distance is not a problem. This is really exciting, and see and hear. Do you see them as not so open to receive help? We have this down in Australia. We have this kind of a man can handle it type of patterns where they are beyond help because some of them are pushing hard and to the brink of collapsing their lives before they can ask help. Do you see this as well?
Well, I don't see it as them being closed off to receiving help. I see it more as dads not asking for help, like even just to ask. Like that's been one of the biggest things I've seen, because we have pride, like as men, like we have a lot of pride, and it's really hard to say I'm struggling. Like it's hard to say that I need help. Those things. So my biggest thing I've seen so far with dads that we've talked to um, is them being even open to asking for help.
Yeah,
So
sign of
I
weakness.
think yeah. So I think just us even having a conversation with dads is the first step. Just to get them open to just even talking about some of the problems that they're having. And then hopefully from that it'll make them even more open to be willing to ask for help. Because a lot of dads that we've talked to don't even ask.
Yeah, the usual reaction is to swallow it or
Yeah,
look strong, and then of course a sign of weakness to reach out. And being honest, I see more women reaching out to me than men, and I'm
yeah,
not making, I haven't got a preference, but I see how females are able to receive help before men may even consider to
yeah.
to seek help. Um, so what's the next big jump or goal if you look into the future for you?
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, I would say bringing awareness to Welcome to Fatherhood in regards to what we do. So that would be creating content, like more like the podcast, make people more aware of what we do, um, and also doing more research. We actually have we've done research around fatherhood, so we look forward to doing more research to basically find out more ways that we can help dads, on a bigger scale. Um, and I would say also not just the dads, I would say the kids. Like it's a lot of kids in the Chicagoland area. I'm not sure about Australia, but um, we taught. I got a quick story. So basically, me and the co-founder, Dr. Raheem, we taught an entrepreneurial class on the south side of Chicago, and we were talking about business, and the kids actually unprompted started talking about their own fatherhood experience. So one by one, the kids raised their hand and said, "My dad's not in the home. My dad's not there. My dad's not there." And it was one kid. It was I think 8 or 9 kids that raised their hand in the class that told their story about how their dad was in the house with them. And one kid, it was a girl, uh, said that their dad was there. And in the next session we had, we were talking about the uh, the median income in that particular area. Like what's why is it that we it was about I think like $30,000 to $35,000 US dollars, and it was the kids in the class were like that don't seem right. It should be more than that. And I told them like, listen, y'all raised your hand and said y'all dad is not in your home, so your mom basically your income is based on your mom's income. So if your dad isn't there, your mom is the only one making money in the house. So that's why the income is so low. And they had a kind of an aha moment, like wow. But just seeing that one particular class on the south side of Chicago, and you think about it from where I am in Chicago, there's so many other schools where there's kids going through the same thing, where the mom is the only one there, or the dad is the only one there. Like it's not a unified front. So um, I'm more intrigued to see what we can do for the kids that don't have that support system, so they can have that support system. You know, maybe have a mentorship program, something like that, where they can get support that they need to become better parents when they become parents. So to kind of break that generational curse, if you will, and turn that into a generational blessing.
And would you be able to maybe qualify to government grants or funding to are you are you in that place?
Yeah, that's what we're looking into now. We're a nonprofit, so we're a 501(c)(3) organization, so we're able to receive donations, grants. We just actually received 2 grants this past year. So yeah, we're doing it.
Powerful.
So so yeah, we're looking forward to connecting with grant writers to see what we can do in regards to getting more funds so we can you know further this mission even further. Because I think it's a really big need, uh, not just for the dads to get support, but for the kids that don't have dads in their lives to get support as well.
Well, I'm very impressed. You saying non-profit. I mean, how could you run this without even charging anything? How could you survive, you two, Raheem, and you through serving so many lives?
Yeah. So that's one of the biggest puzzle pieces that we're kind of figuring out right now. So from grants to donations, we also have merchandise. I don't know if you can see the sweater I'm wearing
Yeah,
right now, but it's
nice.
welcome to fatherhood sweater. But we sell merchandise. So it's other ways we can generate funds to make this happen. But the biggest 2 pieces is the grants and fundraisers. So that's the 2 biggest things we're working on. You're figuring out right now.
So who would you need to connect to scale this? Because people will listen to this, and I want them to know who is an ideal connection for you, or who do you want to help with your wonderful project and to impact 100 times more lives.
Yeah, yeah. So anybody that has a passion for fatherhood, what I've realized is it's actually funny that one of our biggest donors so far have been mothers, actually, or women. But yeah, I would say we would need fundraisers. You know, people that have a passion for fatherhood, people that have a passion for kids. Uh, you know, people that have an ear for this type of thing, where we're helping a lot of men become the best fathers that they can be. So yeah, if you're a fundraiser, if you are interested in what we're doing, definitely feel free to reach out.
Powerful. I was just, while you were saying this, I just realized like maybe you would need your little volunteers showing up in Manhattan or Beverly Hills to maybe open the tap, because if you know, some wealthy people have gone through major trouble with not the ideal father-son relationship, or then you know, sometimes to have one behind you who gets the eyeballs, who has, you know, a higher publicity, could really push you uh, and bring
Yeah,
more awareness. So, and maybe I'm just expanding your views
yeah.
if I can, but what if?
No, no, I appreciate that. That's definitely something we can use too. So yeah, I think that'd be very helpful because I think the more eyes we get on what we're doing, the better. I think everybody I talk to about Welcome to Father, they say, "Wow, you're doing a great thing." So to get more people seeing what we're doing, I think it'll lead to bigger and better things. So yeah, I agree with you on that point.
You see, there's a whole lots of money out there, more than enough. Yet at times it does not find the best way to make a difference, or the best way to be invested. And you kind of need to channel the funds in so you'll be able to help more. Tell me, how can people find you, or what is the best way to connect with you or contact you if a father is listening to this and they want to know more?
Yeah, so when I first started in 2016, I made it a point to open up a account with Welcome to Fatherhood for every social media that I could think of. So you can look up Welcome to Fatherhood everywhere. So Facebook, uh, even TikTok, LinkedIn. We even got a Pinterest page. I haven't been on there in a while, but yeah, even our website is wtfatherhood.org. If you want to go to our website, that's where we have basically all of our information there, how to reach us, how to contact us. And if you want to reach out to me directly, you can reach out to my email. It's Sir Royce at wtfatherhood.org.
Wonderful. Is there anything that you could somehow just offer for a father in hard times to help, a free resource at all?
Yeah, so I would say our podcast would be a good place to go. We are on this week will be episode 88. So we interviewed more than that, but we this next episode is 88. So we on the podcast you can see that you can get a lot of insight, a lot of details in regards to what dads have went through, and also how they've overcome certain things that they've been through in their upbringing, and also all the advice that they would give to dads. So um, I think our podcast would be a good place to go for information about what it means to be a father, and how to be the best dad that you can be.
What could you, if you have any tricks or tips for a father in struggling, difficult times, not able to be present for their children, what would be the 3, 5 things you could give now as a golden nugget to give hope or a recommendation?
Well, I'll give you one right now. So when you're with your kids, put your phone down. Put it down. Like a lot of parents I talk to, they struggle with being present with their kids just by all the stuff that's on here. You know, you got your stuff from work, you got the social media, you got, you know, anything that you want to look at. Your phone is a mini computer. So it's a gift and a curse. Because the more you're looking at this, the more you're not with your kids. So I would say put the phone down. And when you put the phone down, actually be with your kids. So um, even the kids nowadays have access to technology. So they have phones, they have tablets. You can give them a tablet and they can go off and watch the tablet for a little while you take care of your business. But I would say put your phone down and actually go sit with your kid while they're on their tablet. Like look at what they're doing. Like be there with them. If they're playing a video game, sit there and watch them play the game or actually play the game with them. Like be there in the moment. Because your kids are going to be kids only for a certain amount of time. Once they're grown forever. So enjoy those moments that you have with your kids. Really enjoy it because once your kid is grown or even a teenager, like they'll never be that little baby anymore. So if you have really small children, definitely enjoy those times. That's like I said, one of the biggest pieces of advice that we've gotten from the podcast is be present, be there, be in the moment, because it only lasts for a certain amount of time.
That's very deep. That's very deep because I remember I met this, he was a truck driver. He's been driving interstate all around the place. And he said to me among tears that he thought money was more important than he's been driving around to earn a lot of money and he's hardly seen his children. And he said he missed out and he can't, reverse the clock.
No, once that time is gone, it's gone forever. So like when you're with your kids, like really sit down and be with your kids. Like talk to them, ask them questions, let them ask you questions, because they're only gonna be that way for a certain amount of time.
Yes, it is a big learning for a lot of people and for myself too, because I tend to get distracted, I have to say. Uh, my only little hack for some listeners is that my social media presents myself has started to grow so much that I kind of help my children to manage my social media. So I'm kind of teaching them a bit 9 and 13 about how social media works, how we create connection, how we help people and still connect through this social media space. And it's a
Yeah,
tricky because there's so much distraction. Would you say there is another aspect of social media which delivers value, which is teaching people, it's so educational if filtered well?
yeah. So I think with anything like with our social media, I really try to focus on the what we put out. You know, what we share. On LinkedIn in particular, I'll find different like fatherhood. Like I follow the fatherhood hashtag, and I'll literally click on the fatherhood hashtag and see what other fathers are doing, and I'll share what they're doing, what's working well with them. So I think it's really just being mindful of what energy you're putting out, because it's real easy if you look at really any like any movies or any like news like a lot of the things that people put out about fatherhood is that dads aren't there. Dads aren't being there. That a lot of deadbeat dads. Uh, so I really try to reverse that because there's a lot of dads that are being present, that are really active in their kids' lives, and I think it's really important, especially now, to really showcase that. So that's what I really try to do with social media.
Very powerful. I believe social media has a lot of value if certain boundaries are applied. Because,
Yeah,
for example, there is the voice of truth coming from your organization. I, of course, try and teach people about self-worth. There's so much true, valuable content out there, yet distraction is massive. The temptation to browse, click on the next thing is immense. So it requires, yes, a certain level of being present and being able to focus on what's important again.
yeah, like having discipline, like that's really important. Like separating yourself from social media.
Is
That's
there
really important.
is there anything else that you wanted to share before we wrap up about your organization or about your message?
Mhm. Well, one more tip I can give the people that are listening. Well, actually, two more tips. So go outside with your kids. Take your kids outside. A lot of things are designed for us to stay inside the house now. You got social media, you got the phones, you got the tablets, you got Netflix, you got different streaming services. You can basically binge watch any TV show right now, and the kids can too. So make it a point to take your kids outside, play with them outside, have them play outside, no matter what the weather is. Like if it's snowing outside, they can make a snowman. Like there's no excuse for them not to go outside. Um, and also for people or for your parents that have younger children, if you want your kids to go to sleep at a certain time, if you have a bedtime and your kids are struggling with going to sleep at that certain time, have them lay down and then just rub their face right here, over their face, the eyes, the nose, like rub right here. And that I don't know what it is. There's a science behind it, but it makes humans sleepy. It makes them more likely to go to sleep. So if you just do this, rub their face, rub their nose, they'll go to sleep in like maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Like as soon as they yawn, you get them to yawn while you're doing this, you know you got them. So that would be my two biggest tips.
What an advice. I certainly will test this tonight because we have challenges to, they go to sleep, but they don't seem to be able to switch off and fall asleep. So I will be the one to test this and I will come back and probably be grateful for that tip.
Yeah, let me know how it works. It's been real
Wonderful.
effective for me.
Thanks very much. And we will share all your details and uh, courses and how to find your symposium and all other channels to locate you and follow you, of course, under this video. Thank you very much, Sir Royce.
Thank you so much, Andre. I appreciate you.
Thanks.